We are Gathering of the Geeks, a podcast and YouTube show built around the things we as geeks all love. Hashtag we gather on Sundays. Thank you for checking out the one about the state of the MCU. I am one of your hosts, Emmet, and I'm joined by the Ted Lasso to my coach Beard, Chris Evans. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing all right. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Gathering of the Geeks and you will find us. Chris, it's been a weird week. There was Star Wars Day. There's Mother's Day. There's Doctor Strange 2. There's Moon Knight season finale. A lot of things happened in the week. So what'd you get up to?
There was also Top Gun this week for me.
Ooh, I saw that. I saw that on your Twitter, yeah.
You know, I actually did not read a single comic. Oh, we also missed
Me too.
I thought you didn't read anything?
I didn't read a single thing.
Okay. Well, it was also Free Comic Book Day. Did you do any of that?
I on my online store, I managed to get the Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrentino Bone Orchard Free Comic Book Day, but I didn't get out to a physical shop in any way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was actually busy all day, and then when I got home, I had a message from our friend Lauren, and she showed me that this comic was out there, and I forgot. So I ran to
What is that?
This is a comic we were kind of waiting on. It's the one where it's like every Marvel group together. Well, most of it's Avengers, X-Men, and Eternals in one book.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's supposed to be a big deal. So I ran out and got this, but you know it's in the pile now.
Nice, yeah, on the top of the pile.
It is on the top. I'll get to it.
That's good.
And I also got this one.
I saw that one. Who wrote that one? Is it Ron B?
From Wells.
Oh, okay.
Oh, actually, it says Wells and Ewing and V. I don't know what this is, actually. Look at it. I just thought it was kind of cool looking. I was like, hey, I like Spider-Man. I like Venom. Sure.
Yeah, people love that team up for sure.
Also, new Fantastic. I don't know what this is. It's Spider-Man, the Hulk, and Ghost Rider's Fantastic Four.
Sure.
I have no idea what that is, but I'm probably going to need to read that. May 2022 by Peter David. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. But anyway, yeah, I didn't read anything, but I did get these.
Nice.
As far as watch stuff, I actually watched a lot of stuff this week.
Mm-hmm.
I watched. I don't know if you could hear the dog. The dog's going ballistic.
That's okay.
I watched Top Gun for the first time.
Yes, let's talk about Top Gun and how you were kind of lukewarm on your initial feelings for it. I think in your.
Well, I mean, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I thought it's fun, and that's really. I think that's all it needs to be. It's fun.
100%, yeah.
It's an '80s Tom Cruise movie about him flying jets. What else? And everybody is very sweaty.
Oh yes.
I don't know if they need some handkerchiefs when they're walking around, or just like hose them down at the end of the day. I don't know, but everybody's very sweaty. And I thought this was kind of a weird thing too. Like Tom Cruise shows up at that lady's house. He's like, "I'm gonna take a shower if you don't mind." Who goes to random people's houses and takes showers? Is that an 80s thing?
Yeah, Tom Cruise, I guess.
It's an 80s thing. Like, you know, I'm going to take a shower before we eat at your house.
Not bad. Not a bad idea.
Right. But the movie was fun. I actually enjoyed it. I knew it wasn't going to be like earth-shattering Scorsese kind of stuff. It's just a fun popcorn movie, so it was cool.
Did that get you excited for the new one that's coming out in any way?
No. I'm more interested. No, I'm more interested in it now though, because now when I see the trailers, I understand what's going on. Yes. Because before I didn't understand that Maverick was kind of like a wild child kind of thing. I didn't know that, and I didn't know that they were in a school. I thought that they were like full on war or something. And that's what it was. So it's one of those things I have no idea what it is beforehand. I think it's something else.
Yep.
So it was one of those situations, but now that I get it, I am more interested, and I will probably watch Top Gun Maverick now.
Nice.
When I went to go see Doctor Strange, actually, they had not just a trailer, but like a clip, I guess it was. It was like an extended clip, and that seemed pretty interesting too, even though I don't like Miles Teller a lot.
Yeah, is Goose's son, eh?
Is that what he is?
Yeah, there's the newest trailer that just came out. They focused a lot on Goose's death, and I think there's a line in it. He says something about you couldn't protect my father, you couldn't save my father, or something.
Oh, okay. The plot
Mhm.
thickens. See, I'm glad I
Yeah.
watched the first one then, because now
Yeah,
I
exactly.
didn't know Goose dies in the first one.
Yeah, Goose. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Did not
spoiler
know
alert.
that. I thought it was like a. Oh, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Again, I thought it was like a war movie, but it was also like a happy '80s war movie. You know how the
Yep.
tone of the '80s films are.
Yep.
Like, we just killed some Russians. High five. That's what I thought it was.
That's right.
Um, so yeah, the Goose's death kind of hit me in the movie. Like, did not see that coming.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that's interesting. If he's the son of Goose,
Before you talk about Doctor Strange 2, did they have the Avatar 2 trailer at the start of
yes,
it?
they did.
What
They
did you
sure.
think? I haven't seen it online yet, and I haven't even seen much conversation about the trailer. And I know you're not a big fan of Avatar, the first one, and not really amped up for the second one. What was the trailer like?
It was basically like James Cameron treats Avatar as if it is a real world.
Sure.
And so the trailer reminded me of, have you ever seen like the trailer for Walking with the Dinosaurs or the March of the Penguins?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it reminded me of, but just with blue people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had zero interest in the trailer.
Hmm.
I thought it was pretty, like it was visually stunning, don't get me wrong. Very,
Yeah.
very interesting looking. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't care to see this.
I'm surprised we haven't seen it online yet.
I believe because they're when you see it in IMAX, it's floor to ceiling, or for
Hmm.
me it was,
Yeah.
and I think they want to keep that spectacle for right now.
Sure.
Maybe James Cameron thinks that's going to help sell tickets for Doctor Strange,
Hmm.
or Disney does. I don't know. I don't think Doctor Strange needs help. If you've seen the box office numbers,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was there. It was a thing. You know, it
Okay.
exists. Um, that's a Disney Plus watch for me. I really don't care.
Yeah, for sure. Unless my wife wants to see it, or like maybe my mom might want to see it.
Yeah.
I won't be watching it in theater either. It's just kind of I can wait for that one for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely something if someone else in my household wants to see it or
Yeah.
close circle, yeah, I guess I'll watch it with you. But if it's me saying, man, I got to go to that Thursday night premiere, no.
No.
No, I'd rather go watch the re release of The Muppet Christmas Carol at that time or something.
Well, yeah, I'd watch that over
I mean,
lots of
I'd watch
movies.
that right now. So,
Yeah. I
but
love
you know,
that
it's
movie.
around Christmas time, so I just figured. What's interesting though is they are going to re-release the first one in theaters. I think in November, is it?
I think so.
That's kind of interesting. I wonder how that's going to get people ready. Like, I'd imagine it's going to have a special look at the second one too.
I would assume, yeah, a clip
Yeah,
or
like
something. Yeah.
come watch the first 3 hour Pocahontas, and then you can see the second one or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I saw that. I think the
So,
highlight of my sorry.
one more thing about the Avatar thing.
Hmm?
So, is it in first place for the biggest box office, or is it in second place behind
No,
Endgame?
it's first. As far as I
It's
know, it's
still
first.
first. Okay, so it's releasing just for the Avatar 2 then, not to try
I
and beat
believe
Endgame or something.
I believe it's first. If Endgame is ahead of it, it's not by much.
Okay,
I think like a couple days at the theater will take care of it.
got it. Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Especially the time they're putting it out before the new one. I mean, they're banking on this thing to be successful, and I hope it is.
Oh yeah.
It's been Cameron's baby for who knows how long now.
Well, yeah. Like the next, what is there? There's a third and a fourth one, I think.
Oh,
I
is
think there's.
there? No.
I think it's 1, 2. Yeah, I'm pretty sure They filmed 2, 3, and 4 all at the same time. It took them like a year and a half or something just to film.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Why can't we just have another Terminator film?
Yeah, I know. A sequel to Dark Fate.
I would. Hey, that's cool with me.
I know.
I mean, he did have a hand in Dark Fate, but it went south.
So good. I watched that movie. I think it was like three weeks ago or something on one of those staying up late nights. The movie is just so much fun. Like the action is incredible. So good.
I think it's a decent Terminator film. I know a lot of people do not like it.
Yeah, it's my second favorite one behind
really?
T2. Yeah, behind T2.
I actually like which is the one with Amelia Clark? What is it called? Is it Genesis?
Genesis. Yeah, Genesis.
I actually like Genesis a lot.
I've got to watch it again, and I've been meaning to, and I will now. I'll watch it this week just to get because I think I saw it in theater, and then I think I saw it maybe a half of it at home release. I just don't remember enough about it now.
I remember the twist and some other stuff. It was a cool movie. I thought. I liked it. I think
the
only unwatchable one is T3, maybe.
So bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, T3 is so bad, and I should watch Salvation again too. I don't know. I haven't rewatched that one in a while.
It's okay. I think it's okay. It's kind of just a generic movie, really.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the personality of most Terminator films, which I think is what they wanted. Something different.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, yeah, that was the biggest thing for a while. Let's see the actual war. Let's see
Mm-hmm.
the actual war. And I don't know. I can't remember why it didn't do well, or if it didn't do well.
It didn't.
Yeah, I can't remember why. If it just kind of, I don't know. Maybe it
It
was the
didn't.
big blow up from Christian Bale that kind of soured people. I don't know.
He was kind of a problem in it because he had no personality.
Yeah,
Like they
none.
took one of the best actors and they just told him be soldier number 7, and that's what he is in
Hmm.
it. Whereas Sam Worthington,
Yep.
is that the one that's in that?
Yep.
He's just, they're trying to make him a big deal at the time. So
He's not. Well, yeah, and it's funny we're talking about Avatar. He's in that. Like people are forget who Sam Worthington is.
I forgot it was the same guy
Like,
just now.
yeah, exactly.
Because
Like
there's that other guy that was like him, wasn't there? Or am I thinking Jai Courtney?
him, Jai Courtney, and what's his name from Prometheus? The main guy in that one. Remember that guy?
Is it not the same guy?
No, that's a different guy. I'm gonna have to look that guy's name up. What's his name? Oh, that's the god Prometheus, not the movie. That won't help me. Logan Marshall Green, who looks like Tom Hardy's younger brother and Sam Worthington's cousin.
They all kind of have the same face
Yeah, exactly.
and same acting ability, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's cool. But yeah, I like Terminator. Terminator's cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Same.
I think the highlight of my week though was the 2 horror movies I watched back-to-back nights.
Yeah.
Hereditary and Midsummer were both experiences.
That's quite the double feature there, Chris.
It was. I watched Midsummer first, and I loved it. Midsummer is just a amazing film, start to finish. Everything about it was top notch for me. They're like, well, what else has this director done? And then I saw, he made Hereditary, which I'd always heard a lot about. Even recently on TikTok, someone was like, they did a thing, the best female and male performances in any film they've ever seen, and they said Toni Collette was their favorite female performance they'd ever seen.
Mm.
And then someone else on Twitter told me that too. So like, well, I guess I got to check it out now. And it was a special film.
Yeah, that movie. Well, both of those movies surprised me incredibly. Like we were talking about this when we were talking about Midsummer, when the old people are thrown off, or they jump off the cliff there,
Yes,
and they don't die, and they have to finish them off. That was the big whoa my god moment. And then the other one in Hereditary is when the guy's sister has her head out the window. I'm like,
I was not prepared for that.
Exactly. It's like, what is happening here? Wait a second. Like
how did this get so dark so fast?
Exactly. Like all of a sudden, he's at a party and he's getting high and she's not feeling well, and let's just stick my head out a window and get it decapitated by a telephone pole
viciously. Like I thought she was gonna fall out of the car, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe the brother was gonna die because he swerves and maybe hits the pole. But the little girl's like, now I can't breathe and I'm in the middle of the desert or whatever the hell they're in, the forest.
Yeah.
But no, the head's clear off.
Clear off.
I don't know. I was not. No one told me what to expect going into these films.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that there were these kind of films where shock is
really?
king.
Okay.
I didn't know they were the ones where shock is king. So yeah, I felt like the characters in Midsummer watching the old people jump.
Yep.
I felt like it. And then when the girl's head came off, I think that I don't know. I couldn't sit still after that for a few seconds.
Yeah. I remember when I was watching Midsummer and I didn't realize it was so long when I started it. So I started it like downstairs on the TV. I'm like, oh man, I got to go to bed. I got to work in the morning. So I turned it off, and I can't remember when I turned it off, but then I got up to bed and like, I have to finish this movie. Like I can't sleep without finishing and seeing what happened. So I had the iPad in bed, just watching it. And is disgusting and is psychological freaky that it is. It was just something I couldn't turn away from. I don't know what that means or why that is. It's just something about that movie. It's just grabs your brain and holds it for that entire 3 hours.
It's quality filmmaking. Because I was also absolutely glued to it.
Yeah.
Even the ending and like, I guess this is Ari Aster's thing, but
Yep.
the shocks just keep coming. And they get creepier as they go along. Because if you thought the people jumping was the weirdest part, it was not.
No.
There's some crazy stuff in that movie. But yeah, I loved both of those films. I like Midsommar more.
Yeah.
But they're both really, really good films.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go back and watch them.
Yeah, and I don't know about that rewatchability for them.
like
Hereditary probably a little more, just because I think it's a little it's shorter.
It is shorter. It's more layered too.
Yeah, but just I remember like that watching Midsommar. That was my first introductions to Florence Pugh, and everything after that, everything that I've seen her in, she's literally the best actor in every movie, in every series that she's been in.
Mm-hmm.
Like Little Women, she's the best part of that movie. Black Widow, I think she's the best part of that movie as well. Just everything she is in, she's just incredible. And another thing, you just can't take your eyes off her. In the final scenes of Midsommar, when she's getting the flower dress on and everything, and just the look on her face where there's one of like utter dread and disappointment, and then all of a sudden it turns and says, "Oh wait, I'm their queen. I'm their their goddess. I'm going to live through this and turn this into something else." She was just incredible.
These are my psychopaths.
Exactly.
Yeah, she was just fantastic. There's an Oscar in that woman's future.
Yeah.
I think it's coming sooner than later. That Don't Worry, Darling trailer is also very interesting looking.
Yeah, very interesting trailer. I think it's edited in a certain way that makes it seem a little more, or makes it seem pretty weird.
Yeah,
but it looks good for sure.
It played in front of Doctor Strange. It was an edited version to edit a certain thing out. And that was still odd because I think when you've seen the other version of it, it's like, oh, they're putting this in front of Doctor Strange. This is weird.
Yeah, like in that first trailer, I think I watched that trailer at work too.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of sexual content in this trailer. Like,
surprise!
I got to turn it this way, to get it away from people who are looking or whatever. But yeah, I was very surprised with how the sexual nature of that trailer, and probably how the movie is going to be.
Movie looks great though. Very excited for that.
I agree, 100%.
Harry Styles is about to take over Hollywood.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this Olivia Wilde kind of resurgence as a director. Aside from that one that she did with what's the one she did with the kids in high school?
Booksmart?
Yeah, that's it.
I love Booksmart. That was one of my favorite movies of that year.
Yeah, so much fun. So I'm really excited to see kind of her progression as a director, and she's in the movie too, which is cool. So yeah, I'm excited to see how she can. And I like this from Booksmart, kind of a plain Jane coming of age story to this one where it seems more psychological.
Yeah, to me, Booksmart is really like the spiritual sequel to Superbad.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think if you watch them, like that's a double feature kind of night. It's an excellent time.
Yeah.
It's even funnier because that's Jonah Hill's sister. So.
Who is?
Beanie. What is her last name?
Bernie Fettelstein?
I thought it was Beanie, but yes, that's his sister.
Really? Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until she was in What We Do in the Shadows, and someone mentioned it.
Of course.
And then they had like a side-by-side picture of them, and I was like, hey, they share a face.
I'm gonna have to look that up now just to see that side by side.
It's interesting once you see it, you cannot unsee it.
I'm gonna undo that now.
It's like the Culkins. I just realized Kieran is a different Culkin after watching Succession.
What do you mean? A different one?
Well, because I knew there was Macaulay.
Oh,
there was. I knew Kieran existed, but I couldn't tell the difference between him and the other younger one.
Yeah, Rory.
Whose name I can't remember. Rory. Yeah, I didn't know the difference between the two. Now I know. Oh, Kieran is the one in the movies that I've liked. Like Igby Goes Down and some other stuff. Kieran is always impressive.
Go ahead.
I would say he's also in Cheese All That.
Yeah, that's good. My daughter and my wife were during the Met Gala. They were looking at all the weird and crazy outfits or whatever, and there's Kieran Culkin in a nice black and white penguin suit. I just thought it was funny that dressed like a normal person, looking dapper as always at the Met Gala. So
I don't know why. Normal people there.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Outfits. I thought it was all Like you saw Jared Leto's outfit. He looked like Steppenwolf or something.
He was a spaceship. Yeah.
Whatever the hell that is. He looked like Steppenwolf.
Yeah, I think that's how Kieran Culkin was standing out, was by being normally dressed.
Yeah, I didn't know that was it. Oh, you know what? No, Ryan Reynolds was also in a regular tuxedo. Now I think about it.
Uh-huh.
I think it was velvet. It looked really cool.
Velvet suit.
Nicolas Cage's Dracula is kind of making the velvet suit a thing again.
I was gonna say that picture that we saw from from that Redfield movie where he's got that red velvet suit.
He's bringing it back.
Yeah. So it's funny. I didn't read anything this week either. Even though there was Little Monsters 3 from Jeff Lemire, I didn't get to it. And nothing really else I think caught my eye. I didn't get into anything older. That's just the way it goes sometimes with comic books. As for watching, I'm gonna echo what Eric said in the comments there. He watched the first episode of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. I just finished that probably about a half hour before we started recording. I wanted to finish season 2 of Star Trek Picard first before I watched Strange New Worlds. And Strange New Worlds relates to Doctor Strange 2 in a funny way, that Captain Christopher Pike, played by Anson Mount, is also in Doctor Strange 2 as Black Bolt.
I didn't know he was in the trailer. So a friend told me this last night. I was like, how do you know that spoiler? Shut up. You don't know anything else. And I said, no, he's in the trailer. Oh, okay. Well, then,
Yeah.
I was just trying to hide spoilers from him.
Yeah. So you saw Doctor Strange 2 is doing gangbusters at the theaters. What'd you think?
It's okay. It's a movie. I think that there was just something about it that it's hard to talk about without spoiling it, but the main plot line wasn't my favorite. What I did really like, though, were the performances. Like, I love Benedict Cumberbatch as Strange. Even though I didn't really love the first movie either, I thought he was fantastic. I've enjoyed every performance he's done since then. Elizabeth Olsen is just amazing in anything she does. And in this, she's great too. And the whole cast is great. But really what stands out the most, I think, is actually the look and the tone of the movie. Because I was talking to our friend Nico from the Vigilante 39. They don't make movies like this anymore. Because when it comes to comic book movies, it's either full-on MCU tone, which we've seen even the DC movies now. Like you look at Aquaman, if you slap Marvel in front of it, nobody would know the difference.
Yeah.
Including us. So you either go MCU tone or you go with something like the Batman or Joker, where it's hyper serious. This is different because it's basically Raimi's Spider-Man 1 tone with some stuff from Evil Dead peppered in. So you just don't get these kind of films anymore. It's very unique, and it stands out as soon as the movie starts and you see what New York looks like in this film. And the way Strange carries himself, it's very different. And I really appreciated that.
So did it feel too Sam Raimi for you, or are you a big fan of Sam Raimi films?
Raimi. Yeah, I like Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2. I even like 3, really. I like Evil Dead now that I've watched it recently. Drag Me to Hell is probably the movie I like the most from him, though.
Yeah.
I would have said Spider-Man, but Drag Me to Hell is kind of special to me. But there's also Spider-Man, of course. His Evil Dead film, I really, really enjoyed it until I watched that new one.
Yeah.
And now, for me, that is Evil Dead.
I agree with you about that for sure.
That new movie is something just precious. But yeah, I like Raimi films. I like his style. He brings something to films you don't see that often anymore, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of a classic way of filmmaking.
Yeah, I agree about the style for sure. It's one of those things like you can tell it's a Sam Raimi movie, whether it's the way the camera moves. Which one?
It's the one I always mention it. It's the one in the alley when Venom finds Sandman and he's crawling on the wall. This is the first time they've met, and Venom just asks Sandman, "You want to kill the spider?" And Sandman's like, "Yep." It's basically the scene from Step Brothers. Did we just become best friends? Yep. It's basically that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Raimi, very unique. Like you said, even the way it's shot, like with
Hmm.
those like he does that thing with the eyes, where like zooms in
Hmm.
on an eyeball.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I noticed that. I didn't notice it as much in Spider-Man 1, the Sam Raimi style. I noticed it a lot more in the second one with
Mhm.
the Doctor Octopus scene where he's
Yeah.
getting his arms and he's in the hospital. I noticed that. I'm like, oh man, this feels like Evil Dead.
Hmm.
It feels like they're in a cabin and like there's the scratching of the lady's getting dragged and her fingernails are like digging into the
So
ground. Like
good.
it's over. Yeah, like it's over or overly realistic. And he's like, yep, that's the Sam Raimi thing. And I didn't notice it as much in Spider-Man 3, if I remember correctly. But I like that he has a style. Whether or not I totally like all of his movies, or if anybody likes his movies, I think it's nice that they have style. And
Hmm.
like you said, Chris, it feels like old Hollywood.
Yeah.
Not everything has to feel the same. And like an MCU version where every single movie is feels the same, looks the same. To have this one, which is supposed to be, they were hyping it up to be their craziest, their most wild. Um, I appreciate that fact that he was the one to be the one to do that, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't mean to take anything away from the MCU film by saying they're all kind of the same tone.
Yeah.
When you watch an MCU movie, you have a certain expectation with it, and
Hmm.
very few have broken the mold of, oh, this feels different.
Sure.
You're talking like Eternals, Guardians, maybe Iron Man 3,
Hmm.
Winter Soldier. Those ones feel different, I think. And this one would go in that category with those. It's different, and it's very Raimi like, which I think is cool.
Good.
And Benedict is awesome as always.
Yeah. So you think you're going to revisit Doctor Strange 1 and maybe come around on it a little bit more
Oh,
than
I
you
did
had
recently. I
before?
watched it. I
Yeah.
think last month. I think, and I did like it more.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I
Good.
was one. I saw this comment on Twitter that I thought was interesting. Someone said that they're not, because they did the same thing. They weren't big on it the first time they watched it, so they rewatched it now, like
Hmm.
recently. They're not sure if the movie works better now because you know the character better, or
Mm.
because the movie is better than you remember.
Right.
So it's in that's kind of a fascinating thing when you think about it. Since you know the character's journey, does it affect how the first movie works?
Hmm. Yeah. I always liked. As soon can't remember when I saw Doctor Strange to begin with, but I always liked it. I like the action in it. I like Mads Mikkelsen a lot,
Yeah.
and anything that he's done. Um, yeah, I don't know. I can't get excited about MCU movies too much, very much anymore. I will see it when it comes out just to see that the Raimi factor that you're talking about. Um, what do you think about I don't know. You don't talk too much into spoilers, but and I guess we're going to talk about this at the end. So I won't ask you now about where do you think it's going because we're going to be talking about a little bit of the MCU stuff towards the end of the show. I didn't watch any movies this week that I can remember. NHL playoffs are on right now, Stanley Cup playoffs. So I'm kind of in a sports mode
Oh, okay.
a little bit right now, which is frustrating. Just cheering for a team that you spent your whole life cheering for, and your father spent his whole life cheering for, and they haven't won a goddamn thing since y'all all been alive. It's really, really hard to get excited, and then they always let you down in the end. Sports are a terrible thing. I hate them and love them all at the same time.
Does that make you
One
a
thing,
hoser?
yeah, that's right, a hoser. That's right. One thing that did catch my eye for TV wise, aside from Star Trek Picard,
Was that good,
was
by the way?
Star Trek Picard season two
Not that
was
the new show.
Strange New Worlds was very good.
Okay. Sorry.
Very good. Yeah, no, in a lot of different ways. It both feels very familiar with how it relates itself back to the original series and even Next Generation. And then it also feels new and fresh with the cast and the visuals, which are all very good. I love where Star Trek's at right now. I'm excited to see what happens going forward if we ever get more movies, but they're planted in TV right now, going strong on TV. So I like that too. Another thing that did catch my eye this week was something very small, very very simple that I didn't see get a lot of traction on Twitter, and something that I almost missed, and that would be the small tease for the Paper Girls TV show.
Yes.
That comes out on Amazon Prime sometime. I don't know when. There's no release date yet. But we got our first look at the 4 main girls, overlying with some of color palette changes for each character, much like the first 5 issues of the book that's right behind me. And we get to hear some dialogue. It's one of those shows that I keep forgetting is coming because they don't talk about it that much. But this is the first real marketing material for it. I assume we'll get a trailer soon. And depending on when it comes out, Grabs on Twitter asked, or he was wondering when we would see the show. And I kind of theorized that, well, it's on Amazon Prime. The Boys comes out in June, and the Lord of the Rings show comes out in September. So if there are 8 episodes by the middle of July, The Boys could be over. So we could get in August to September, maybe for the show, or it could come afterwards. But at this point, we think we've got a full trailer for The Boys and a full trailer for Lord of the Rings, and we don't have a full trailer for Paper Girls yet. So I assume it'll probably be later in the year. But it's just a nice little tease to get me excited, to get fans of the comic book series excited. And so far, so good with the smallest of teases. So that's something that just got me a little excited on Twitter. I think it was Saturday when that was dropped, and I almost missed it. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, I only saw one person tweet about it, actually. Mm-hmm. I didn't know it was out either. And then when I didn't watch the trailer, but I'd seen what it was, like Paper Girl was like, oh, that's the thing Emmet is waiting for. But I didn't sit down to watch it. I'll get to it.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think it's 45 seconds, and it's the girls standing, the camera's looking straight on, and it's just dialogue, voiceover over top of them, kind of interchange with them switching places. So it's really not much to it, but for fans of the series, I think it'll get them excited, and hopefully people who haven't read the comic book will go back and read it. It's one of my faves, Brian K. Vaughan, Chris's new favorite comic book writer. So
yeah, I think I want to read a lot of what he's written so far. I just need to get to it.
Yeah, for sure.
He's awesome.
Yeah, so that was pretty much what I got to this week. Not too much exciting.
And we watched Moon Knight.
And we watched Moon Knight. So let's get into that a little bit with our poll topic, our poll of the week, Chris. And our poll from last week was there's a lot of debate how long a season should be for a series, depending on which platform it's on, depending on which streaming service it's on, depending on what the subject material is. So there's a couple of options here. It's the 1 to 8 episodes, kind of a mini series. There's short, 8 to 16, or a longer one, more of a network show, 16 to 20 episodes. And then, of course, The Batman is on HBO Max. Is in our second place winner, Chris, with 25% of the vote. The Batman is on HBO Max. But the winner of the poll was short, 8 to 16 episodes. And Ian on Twitter, friend of ours, says, one thing I love about British TV shows is that seasons are generally shorter, 1 to 8 episodes, shorter than U.S. episodes, shows, 1 to 8 episodes. I feel that there's often more quality in a single episode and the stories aren't unnecessarily drawn out. However, recently a lot of U.S. shows have been taking the same approach. So as we talked about a little bit in our final recording for Moon Knighting, which you can get wherever you get your podcasts, friends, Moon Knight was only 6 episodes. It could have used another 2. It could have used 3. It could have used 4 more episodes. And we're seeing it a lot with, or we're not seeing it with a lot, but we just talked about it with The Boys. They're pretty much, Amazon Prime shows are pretty much stuck at 8. HBO shows, as we were looking up the Game of Thrones, 10 episodes. And I'm pretty sure, you'll have to remind me about this. Do you remember if The Flight Attendant was 10 episodes as well?
I think it was less.
Okay, so it's around the 10 episode mark. Chris, where do you land? Do you land on it doesn't matter how long or how short the episodes are in a season if the show is good? Or would you rather they set a standard where you find more enjoyment in a shorter or longer episode season?
For me, I don't keep up with shows very well, as everybody knows. So the shorter seasons work better for me. Like, I think 8 to 12 is perfect. Also, but it really depends on the story they're trying to tell. Because I think sometimes the story is too big for like a 6-episode thing or an 8-episode thing. But then you look at something like Superman and Lois, which I loved last season.
Yeah.
I don't think you needed those extra 3 or 4 episodes. Or even though there's series where they're 22 episodes long or more per season, like 24. I don't think you need that much unless it's maybe a sitcom. So I think it depends on what it is and the story they're trying to tell. But generally, I do prefer the smaller, like 8 to 12 kind of thing. Or what was it, 8 to 16? I might have put. I don't remember.
Yeah, you had 1 to 8, 8 to 16, and then 16 to 20.
8 to 16 works for me, I think.
I like that too. I like the 10 to 12 episode season. I think that's where you get the best out of it. All I think about is like shows like The Sopranos, The Wire, Deadwood,
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, Mad Men. That kind of, and I think Justified might be the same. We were talking about that last weekend again.
Yeah, I want to say Justified was 13 episodes per season. I could be wrong.
And the other one, Breaking Bad, is another one that I thought of too.
But all the cable networks have the shorter
13
seasons.
episodes. 13 episodes in Justified first season.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the cable episodes stick to the cable networks stick to the shorter seasons, but it works for them because it's tighter. Oh, Zeddy said The Leftovers as well. But I think that's on Showtime, isn't it?
HBO. That's an HBO. So yeah, it feels like HBO's really got the formula down for what I like in a series. And you mentioned the sitcoms. Most of that'll work if it's like sometimes like I think of like Seinfeld or something. 20 episode season, but they're without commercials. The shows are 27 minutes, so they're a lot easier to digest. Or even like we were talking about a few weeks ago, watching Big Bang Theory. Same kind of thing.
Like
shorter episodes,
22 minutes long.
Yeah, it feels like the shorter the episode, depending on how long the season is. But even when you think about it, like Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's short. They're 30 episodes or 30-minute episodes, and there's only like 12 episodes in a season. So it depends on the station or the streaming service they're on. But preferably for me, I like that 8 to 16, and preferably just a 12. And that way you're not bogged down. There's so much right now, so much content. It feels like, okay, we're done with that. Let's get into something new, something fresh. And like studios are using that. Like specifically, if you want to talk about Disney Plus, like they end one a few weeks later, or sometimes a week later, they start a new one. And it keeps ending and starting over again. So it's just a better way to pump out more content. If you have longer seasons, it just takes up, space or, physical or digital space on your platform that you can't have new things on there.
Yeah, I think Disney's doing it the best way. Although I think some some series need more episodes. Not just Moon Knight in general, but some shows could use a few episodes. Like I think Obi-Wan is going to be 6 also. And I'm very excited for that. I haven't seen True Detective, by the way. I need to watch that.
I think you would love the first season.
That's what's Matthew McConaughey, right? The first season.
Yeah. Him and Woody. Yep.
Okay, I thought it was Woody and Colin Farrell in the second season.
No, it's Vince Vaughn and Colin Farrell in the second one.
Okay, I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm in for the first one.
The first one is outstanding. Some of the best TV ever. The second one's okay, but Colin Farrell is an absolute force in that season, as much as you expect from Colin Farrell, right?
Yeah. I expect greatness every time I see him.
Exactly.
It just kind of goes with the territory.
I haven't seen the third season. I didn't get around to it.
I didn't know there was a third season.
Yeah, that's the one with Marshall Ali.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be pretty good. So maybe I should get around to it. It'll be on Crave to watch.
I like him. He's a good actor.
Someone I was surprised we didn't get to see or hear from in Moon Knight, but we'll see.
That's another rant. But that's more of a fan-built thing. So.
Yeah, that's right. So that's it for the. I don't know. It's a tough one because it really depends on the subject material. Whether or not the show is good or not, I'll watch 25 episodes of the best TV there is. So
I'll watch a lot of Friends.
Exactly. You don't care how long the episodes or season
I'll
is.
watch a lot of Friends and How I Met Your Mother. Big Bang Theory, sign me up.
Yeah.
And Seinfeld. I like Seinfeld.
There you go. So that's the poll from last week. We got a new one this week. This one's an interesting one, Chris. If you could write and or direct a comic book film, which company would you do it for? And a bonus question, which character would your film be about? We've got DC Comics, Marvel, other, and of course, the Batman is on HBO Max. It's a tough one, Chris, about I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know what
It's
I
a
would
fun one, I
vote on
think.
that. It is a fun one. That's a
fun
tricky
one.
question, though.
So going forward, I think I want to get some more polls out there that are. We'd like to get to know you guys that watch the show, listen to the show. You know, we're friends. We want to know more about you. So
Yep.
this is one of the ways that I think it'll be fun to do these kind of polls instead of the, what do you think is better, Marvel or DC? Let's get some things going. Let's see what you guys say.
And of course, the Batman is on HBO Max.
And whoever says the Creeper wins.
Yeah, that's right. Chris will give you money if you say the Creeper.
Right, I will personally fund your product or your project if it is the Creeper. But you have to have read the Creeper. You can't just say, "Oh, it's the Creeper," of course. No,
right.
you have to understand the character.
You got to come with a fact about the Creeper.
Right. I want to see some facts. He is the Jekyll and Hyde of superheroes, but let's see it.
So that's the poll, guys. Head over to our Twitter account at G of the Geeks and let us know what you think. So yeah, we're going to be talking about the state of the MCU. Chris, you had the thought about this one. You have seen the latest incarnation of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in Doctor Strange 2. It's got some after credit scenes. It's got some cameos. We've got the stuff cameos. We've got the stuff on Disney Plus. Moon Knight just finished. We've got Miss Marvel coming up next. The next movie that's coming out is Thor, Love and Thunder, which we have a trailer for, which came out last week, I think.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on where the MCU's going with Phase 4 into, I guess Phase 5 eventually?
Well, I think that they're an interesting place at the moment because if you think back to when the MCU started, they were standalone stories trying to get to a point. But the point, they weren't beating you over the head with that.
Yeah, not for the first little while.
Right, you watch the Phase 1 films, and they're all pretty much that. The only one that has like a tie, like a strong thing, is Iron Man 2. But even then, it's not like that's all that matters about that movie. The movie is about the conflict between Whiplash and Tony Stark. But the Avengers thing is thrown in there. So I think that's where they're at now. They're at a point where they're kind of just doing standalone stuff again without pointing it toward a big, like a grander story, because we don't have a big bad again. Like we don't have a new big bad yet.
Yeah.
Everybody is kind of doing their own things, their own films. Like Spider-Man was very much a Spider-Man story. I've seen a lot of people say, well, Spider-Man had a threadbare, there was a very bare story. There was nothing there. I disagree, but I get where they're coming from. Eternals, of course, completely did its own thing, for better or for worse. Black Widow was like an ending, but then you have like Shang-Chi, who does exactly what the Phase 1 movies did. It carves out a path for this new character. Doctor Strange, I feel like, does the same thing. It's carving a path for Doctor Strange to move forward in his own universe. It's not about world building. And so I think that with the MCU, this is a smart move. Instead of going directly to, okay, we got to get a new team up going. Let's build the universe. Let's build these new characters, or even the characters you already know. Like Spider-Man, again, they built a whole new dimension for that character. No Way Home got people who didn't like Tom Holland on board with his Spider-Man. It sold them to those fans. That was great. I think Doctor Strange is going to do a similar thing with Strange fans. And then we've got Thor coming, and I think this is probably his last outing, Chris Hemsworth. I think it's probably his last. But still, you have Natalie Portman who can carry it if they choose. So I think that's what this phase is all about. Building, and then eventually we'll get to a new big bad. I think Guardians is probably going to be the one to bring that full circle. Or Ant-Man and, what's it called, Quantumania?
Quantumania, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that one because I believe the villain is Kang, so that kind of makes sense.
That's the rumor, yeah. Yeah, that's the big surprise for me into this stuff post Endgame is how it doesn't feel like they're intentionally building a new team. It's not
Mhm.
like, okay, this is this person's movie, and then there's no Nick Fury at the end of it saying, okay,
Right.
we need you to join the initiative, and same with Black Widow with Florence Pugh's character. There was no Nick Fury again showing up and be like, oh, we need you to join this. So that's actually something very surprising to me that they're not trying to rush it. They are treating it much like that first phase, Chris, where it's about the characters first, and eventually they're going to get to it. Like that build to Endgame, or I guess to Infinity War. What was it, 23, 24 movies before
Something
that
like that.
happened?
Something like
Yeah, like I don't know if they're going to wait that long again. It'd be pretty wild if they did.
that.
If
They
they built
could.
it that long again, sure they could. With the amount of the money that they make off these properties, they could. I'm just very surprised that they're not. And whether I like the movies or not, I guess I commend their way that they've built their story out. There's no
Mhm.
denying how they've built the story and built the groundwork for for them to take chances on characters that we've never heard of, like Moon Knight. Like a lot of people haven't heard of Miss Marvel. Like they've built it in such a way where they can take these chances with a Sam Raimi directed Doctor Strange movie, or they can have and bring back the bread and butter with Taika Waititi and Love and Thunder. So again, quality aside, I do appreciate how they built it, and I'm very surprised that they're not stepping on their own feet trying to rush to get to another Infinity War or Endgame.
I am too, but I'm curious where they're going. Zeddy makes a really good point in the comments here. They could just do Secret Wars. They don't need the build up. People will see it just because the brand is so strong with the
Yeah.
MCU. It doesn't matter what it is. Like if they were to do that, so Sony announced they're doing another Spider-Man spinoff with Bad Bunny, who I don't even know who that is. I don't know if he's
I
a
don't know either.
musician, a YouTuber. I don't know what a Bad Bunny is.
No idea.
I'm not sure. I think there's a clothing brand called Psycho Bunny. I know what that is. But anyway, it's going to be some type of lucha libre wrestler in the Spider-Man universe. If the MCU were doing it, it is a guaranteed $1 billion film.
Yeah.
Sony doing it, it might crack 250.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's right. And
We'll
it'll be just totally panned by the critics too, of course.
Of course, and I'm sure Morbius will show up and Venom will be there or something. But the point is, anything MCU touches pretty much turns to gold.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't really do any wrong, and it's because they have good stuff. It's not. We can say, oh, it's the best thing ever. I don't think it is, but they make some good stuff. And if they do Secret Wars, that's cool. I mean, we know we have Fantastic Four coming. They need a new director, but Fantastic Four is coming. We know the X-Men are coming,
Yes.
which I am over the moon about, of course.
Yes.
And they're just building, and with the more characters they add, the more options they have, and they don't even need the big team up kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as much as that's what it became, like that's what people think of when they think of Marvel, is the connectivity, the shared universe. You don't need the big team ups every couple of years. You could save them and they'll matter more. Or like Zeddy said, you could just throw them out there and people will love it. And I think Secret Wars is a perfect thing to do coming soon.
Yeah.
Are we getting a TV show too of that?
Secret Invasion.
Oh, okay.
With Amelia Clark is going to be in that one. And
Samuel Jackson's returning.
Yeah, that's great. One of the things I find interesting about the MCU in this phase 4 and into phase 5 is going to be their reliance on characters we've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange 2, we've seen Doctor Strange before. God, Love, and Thunder, we've seen Thor before. And Shang-Chi was I don't know if, and that I love Shang-Chi a lot, actually. I like Shang-Chi a lot. And it's that, and it was the same, one of the main reason that I like Moon Knight so much is this new character, something that feels new and something that doesn't have the baggage on it from the entirety of the MCU, which I find quite tiring. So I like the idea of the new characters coming in. I look forward to a Sam Wilson Captain America in Cap 4 whenever they get to that, because I find Sam Wilson as Captain America quite intriguing, specifically in the world that they built up for him a little bit in.
He's going to be great
in the show, the Disney Plus show. So I look forward to that, but I wonder about the reliance on eventually they're casting off what we've seen before and fully integrating into the new. And you said this, you expect God, Love and Thunder to be last Chris Hemsworth one. We've got Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which James Gunn says is his final one, and I wonder about the characters in that one as well.
He says it's the team's final one too.
Yeah, so I wonder about, like, they're blending it too, quite well. Like I said, with Doctor Strange 2, we got Love and Thunder, and then the Shang-Chi who came out a little while ago. And going forward, how they blend the old with the new. I find that an interesting prospect for the MCU going forward.
I do too, and they're doing it in a way I think that works. Like we saw Black Widow and Yelena was introduced there, and then they blended her into Hawkeye, and she's arguably one of the best parts about Hawkeye. I know some people didn't like the humor. I love the whole macaroni bit. I thought it was fantastic. And then, like, we're going to see Miss Marvel, which I'm pretty amped for. Mm-hmm. I think it looks great, and I'm excited to see other people see themselves on screen.
Yep,
that's a huge deal. That's awesome. It's something exciting, and why wouldn't you be excited about that? And I want to see what they do with her and how they use her, because the version I'm familiar with is she's a big fangirl of the Avengers in general.
Right.
And I think they're carrying that into the show, so maybe that is the way she is in the comics. So I want to see how that's going to be portrayed. Is she still going to be a huge fan of these characters? It's just neat, And with that, also, we get the option for a new team. You can have, like, the Young Avengers, too. Because we've seen Patriot. We have Yelena, of course. Kate Bishop. We'll have Miss Marvel. Might be fun. But even if Phase 4 is used as kind of like closure in a way, like, okay, we're putting to rest all the characters you've known before, and 5 is going to be this new team. I think that still works, if that's what they're doing.
Well, it works, obviously, because of the money that they make.
Yeah.
And like you said, Chris, they can patch a Marvel thing on anything. People will go see it generally. And it certainly helps that the movies are 4-quadrant as well. Everyone can see them. There's and they're expanding with the, like you were saying with Miss Marvel, the nationalities in the shows. And we saw with Moon Knight and with the disorders and stuff like that. Shang-Chi, we saw the Asian aspect to it as well. And we're seeing with Love and Thunder how, Natalie Portman coming back and being Mighty Thor. So, like, women being front and center, that kind of thing. So, like, MCU's at a certain place after so many movies and billions of dollars that they can take these chances, per se, with different things, different characters. And people will go see it because people love the brand. Like you say, and Zeddy says all the time on V39, the brand is just so strong. I don't like the movies. They don't get me excited, but that doesn't mean I can't find an appreciation in the craft of how you build out movies and build excitement around movies as well. Like there's nothing like this, and there might never be anything like the MCU ever again. If the MCU ever ends at some point, or it just continues on into the graces. I assume at one point there's going to have to be another Iron Man movie, or another Thor, or a white Captain America, sans like without Sam Wilson, with Steve Rogers. Like, I assume that stuff's going to have to come back around again at some point, or they don't. Like, maybe they just eventually drop the Avengers bit and do X-Men. And that would get me incredibly excited if they just dropped the Avengers and just went all X-Men and then went Fantastic Four, I suppose. Do you think that's a possibility ever going forward for the MCU?
I think that is a strong possibility, because you can let the Avengers team name rest.
Yeah.
And you build up the X-Men. It's not just the X-Men. When you get the X-Men universe, you have all of these characters to play with. And there are an endless amount of mutants. There are so many. Like I don't even know all the characters. Like, there are sometimes I'll pick up an X-Men book and I don't know who I'm looking at. It's happened more than once recently, even. So you get that, and then people like, including myself, I don't know a lot about the Fantastic Four. I have not read the Fantastic Four comics. I've seen the 3 movies we've had. Not the original in the 90s, but I've seen the most recent 3. And I like some of what I've seen, but I couldn't tell you their villains other than Doctor Doom. And I think Mole Man.
Yeah. I hope so.
Right. So I think that is a good thing they can do also, is build on these new teams. And, even then, Avengers versus X-Men is a thing.
Yeah.
That could be something they build toward. I don't really want that, but they could do it. So we'll see. But I'm all for the new teams.
Yeah, that would get me excited for something Marvel, aside from the TV shows, which are actually the most exciting things for me right now. Whether or not I like them, which I don't. I've only really liked one Disney Plus Marvel show, and that would be Moon Knight. But I'm still excited for them. Specifically, I'm really excited to see Miss Marvel. I thought the trailer looked really good. I think Kamala Khan is a great new character to introduce. So yeah, and if they dropped the Avengers movies and just like did a MCU version, Marvel Cinematic Universe Avengers, of the X-Men universe, that would get me so excited. If they just started to build a new saga, like the Infinity Saga, or what would be like the big build? Like what's phase 1 of X-Men? Like
the best.
What would they build towards? What's the Avengers of X-Men? Like if the Avengers is the culmination of phase 1, what would you think would be the culmination of phase 1 X-Men's?
I want to say Dark Phoenix, but I don't want to say it.
They can't do that again, can they?
No, I don't think you can, because it's too complicated. The MCU probably could handle it because they go to space, they do different things, but I think it's a bit much. No, I think you built an Apocalypse. I think that's what you do. Apocalypse is the big bad of the X-Men, so you go for the throat on that one. And also, I wouldn't include Magneto. We'll talk more about that next week. Just saying.
Oh, okay, very good.
I think though, I think Apocalypse is kind of what you would build toward if you do the X-Men, or if you want to go recent, use Krakoa. Yeah, I'm a little iffy on how that would work on film. You'd have to build it. Like, that's not something you just drop them in from the start, but I'd be open to seeing them try. Also, Zeddy is exactly correct. Not only Mr. Sinister, but Cash John Hamm. Let's do it.
You're just buttering his bread, Zeddy. You just knew that would get Chris excited.
I don't mind having buttered bread. I think everybody prefers buttered bread. Nobody likes just plain white bread. Or maybe some people do. I guess I do usually, but still, Mr. Sinister, John Hamm, let's get it done. I already texted Feige. He has not responded. That just tells me he's working on it. This is interesting too. So the idea that Wolverine should be Laura is something I am not against, because I think they are 2 different characters, and it's good to see Laura, not just because it'll be an easier sell than trying to replace Hugh Jackman, but because Laura is badass.
Yep.
Laura is badass in her own right, and I don't see a reason why we cannot have her on screen. She's awesome.
Yeah, if the MCU does do something like this, I think it'd be really interesting how they adapt the stories. X-Men, what do they change every 5-10 years? Do a reboot and kind of, depending on which run you're talking about. So I don't expect they would do the Krakoa thing just because of how out there it is. I would expect something more classical.
The thing is, it's not really that out there, though. Because here's the thing. We've had House of M or Asteroid M. We've seen Magneto create these colonies of his own thing. Like, we even had it in the Dark Phoenix movie, even though it looked like a rundown Ewok village.
Yeah. He
had a version of Genosha there. It was weird, but they live like hobbits or something, or Ewoks. I don't know. It's not that weird of a concept to introduce that the mutants have their own area. What becomes weird is when you try to get into the finer details that Krakoa is alive and it's a tree that communicates with another mutant.
Mm-hmm.
and the whole resurrection stuff, it gets muddy. But if you just take the core concept that, okay, the mutants now live on their own island, and this island gives them certain perks
Mm-hmm.
that they can sell to the world to keep everybody happy and on good terms, cool. But then by doing that, you might also shortchange the villains because you're going to have to put them on the island too. Because it is the weirdest thing to have Charles Xavier sharing a meal with Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you think the political nature of the Krakoa era would translate good to film?
It could, but again, it's something you'd have to build. Like
Yeah,
that's a third movie kind of thing. That's not one or
right.
two.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing with how you do an X-Men. Do you do the origin stories of each character?
No.
Do you do a Jean and Cyclops movie? Do you do a Wolverine one? Do you do an Xavier one? And then, then the fifth movie is the X-Men, or is there X-Men 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's spin-offs in every direction after that?
I don't think any X-Men character needs a spinoff.
Okay.
And you know how much I love Wolverine. We don't need him.
Yeah.
Just make X-Men films.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Plus,
I think that'll be. Yeah.
I was just gonna say the original X-Men films are basically Wolverine movies anyway.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's the biggest question for me. Whenever they get to the X-Men movies, is how they roll it out. If they treat it like a team up every single time, or we've seen the origins, Wolverine origin, we've seen Logan, and I wonder if I think they're doing it the smart way again by not rushing things. Like it feels like I think Disney's had Fox for 2 or 3 years now. I think
has it been that
maybe
long?
More. I feel like it's been that long. Maybe it hasn't, but maybe it just felt that.
Maybe you're right. Like whenever Dark Phoenix came out, that's I think when the sale was being completed. And
Yeah,
Dark
so
Phoenix,
that's
I believe, was 19.
Yeah, that's got to be 3 years ago. So again, I praise them for not rushing, but it's something I wish they would. I wish we would see some stuff from, because like the X-Men is far more interesting to me than Avengers and Captain America, Iron Man, that kind of thing.
Well, that's another part of like the state of the MCU. They have more toys to play with now. They have Daredevil back. Mm-hmm. They have Jessica Jones, Mike Coulter, Luke Cage. They have Iron Fist, but they can do their own thing because nobody likes the one that they had. They've got Ghost Rider back without Nicolas Cage. Fantastic Four, of course. They have all their tools back. Mm-hmm. So the MCU is limitless. That's kind of the way I see it. It's limitless between the films and even the streaming stuff. I mean, we're getting a Werewolf by Night streaming special. Mm-hmm. It's not even a show. It's a special. Who would have thought? So this train ain't stopping. It's just going to evolve, I think, into something a little different.
Yeah, well, I think that's it. It's just going to be a little bit different. Is that the Grant Morrison one? No, or that the TV show?
That's the cartoon. X-Men Evolution.
What's the Grant Morrison X-Men run?
I don't know. I don't remember what it was called.
I thought there was an E in there somewhere.
The shitty suits. That's what I call it.
You didn't like those ones?
No.
X-Men.
They kind of look like weird bikers. Or Wolverine did it.
He's the new X-Men, is what it's called.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, just the new X-Men.
Good run, but I'm not so big on the designs.
So that's what we think of where the MCU could be going. That's where we thought about where the MCU was. And I think the general consensus is, like Chris said, the train ain't slowing down. The MCU is a guaranteed moneymaker.
It's a juggernaut.
Very good. No matter how good or bad you may think the movies are, whether you're not think the TV shows are middle of the road, boring or whatever, they ain't stopping making them. And people watch them regardless of whether they don't like them or not. Yeah. So that's the MCU going forward, guys. Let us know what you guys think in the comments about where you think the MCU is going. Chris, that's our show for tonight. Anything else you want to chat about? If not, give us your plugs.
No, I think I'm good. We covered. I think I want to watch that Star Trek show. I did want to ask you, do I need to watch anything Star Trek before watching this?
Yeah, it mentions a couple of things from season 2 of Star Trek Discovery.
Okay.
But they do tell us about what happened. I think once you get past that first episode, we won't have to hear too much about what came before. So I would watch it for sure. Anson Mount, he's a good-looking fellow, I'll tell you that much.
He kind of looks like Bruce Wayne to me.
He's an older Bruce Wayne, 100%.
Yeah, like I
Zeddy,
saw.
he and Terry McGinnis, man. Zeddy and Anson Mount in a Batman Beyond movie. Okay.
You can even do some flashbacks where he's still Batman, like the later days. I'd be cool with that. I saw a picture of I guess from the show earlier. I was like, hey, that looks like Batman.
Yeah, strong jaw.
Yeah, very strong jaw. But no, that's it for me. I just want to know about that. As far as plugs go, you guys can follow me on Twitter at thatchris70. But as always, I prefer you follow the show at G of the Geeks. Oh, we got a comment from Zeddy. I think you just heard it. Follow us over at G of the Geeks. We have a lot of fun stuff. Check out our new poll. And like I said, we want to get to know you guys better. So vote in the poll and let's have some fun with it. Emmett knows all the other explanations of YouTube and Spotify and all those other things.
Oh, very good. You can follow me on Twitter at EmmettDavis7. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. We recently, today, just put out the final episode of Moon Knighting, where Aaron Conjanto joined Chris and I talking Moon Knight. It's the culmination of the 6 weeks. We talk about the season finale and the series on the whole, so make sure you go to wherever you get your podcast, search for Gathering of the Geeks, and listen to Moon Knighting. Let us know what you think about the series. Let us know maybe what you guys want to hear from us going forward. And yeah, just follow us on Twitter at G of the Geeks. I want to say thanks to Zeddy, Eric, Aaron, and DC Patrol, Ian. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday, Mother's Day. In saying all that, for Chris, I'm Emmett, and we gather on Sundays.
Latest, Gators.